Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner with me, Lydia, in my little crafty corner. So today we are going to be doing some double selective stenciling. So to start with, I'm going to be using the In the Woodland stamp set, and as you can see I have this large image, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp that into place onto a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card panel using some obsidian ink. I'm then going to be grabbing the Colour Swatches stencil. Now this is made to make your own colour swatches, but you can also use this on your projects too. So I'm just lining up the largest square into place onto my little image that we have here. And I'm just going to ink through that square using some of the cotton candy ink. Once I've done that, I'm going to move the stencil kind of in place with the image. It is going to go over the image somewhat, and this time I'm going to be using the Sun-Kissed ink. Again, I'm going to move that stencil over, and this time I'm going to be using the Citrus Burst, so I'm just adding that using the small blending tools. Once that's done, move the stencil again, and this time I'm going to be using the Parrot ink. I just love this green so much. Again, I'm going to move that stencil, and this time I'm going to go through with the Mountain Mist. Now I should have cleaned that stencil off because as you can see I did get a bit of that green showing through. I'm going to move that stencil again, and this time I'm going to be using the Wisteria ink. Once I have my little panels in place, or my coloured blocks, I'm then going to take the first stencil from the In the Woodland stencil set, and I'm going to pop that into place over the image. I'm then going to take the colour swatch again, and I'm going to place that around the image that we've already done. So the ink blending square that we've already done, I'm just going to pop that into place. For the first one, I did use the beautiful Coral Berry ink on the pink colour. Then when I moved it onto the orange, I then used the orange cream. For the yellow, I moved that across and then used the fresh lemon colour for that one. The green, I did use the Parrot ink. Then for the blue I used my Volcano Lake, and then for the purple I am using the Hydrangea. I did clean off the squares before I did ink this time round, so I didn't get any mucky prints this time. Once I finish with the first stencil, I'm then going to take the second stencil, and I'm going to pop that into place over the image, and we're going to do exactly the same as before, kind of moving this square around exactly into place on the one that we've already done. So for the red one I used the Ruby Red. For the orange, I'm then going in with the Autumn Blaze, again cleaning off that stencil so I don't get these dark colours kind of contaminating the next one. I'm then moving on to Honey Drizzle for the yellow, one of my favourite yellows of all time. Again, just popping that into place over where it should be. Then for the green, I'm going in with the Olive, one of my favourite greens. Again, you can see that we are using my favourite colours on this rainbow. And then for the blues, we're using the Lagoon. And then last but not least is the purple, and we're going to be using the Ultraviolet for that one there. So once I've done that, again, I cleaned my stencils off, and I'm then going to move on to the third colouring stencil. Again, popping that into place on the image, and then using my little colour swatch stencil to stencil over the image. So we have this selective stenciling here. So for the red, I went with the Vineyard Berry. Then for the orange, I went with the beautiful Fire Brick. Then I've gone in with the Yellow Ochre for the yellow. For the green, I'm going in with the Moss, and this is going to add the darker shading to the image. Then for that beautiful blue, I am going in with a Teal Cave. And then the purple didn't have any layers this time around. So I'm going to remove those stencils again. And then we're going to move on to the last piece. Now this is on the third stencil again, so I've just shifted this over into place onto the image. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly the same as before, but I'm not necessarily going to add any more ink. I realized that I had enough kind of residue ink on my little ink blending tool just to add this through the stencil instead of having to ink it up again. So I just have the residue from the colours that I've used before to add that final layer on there. I then wanted to add a little bit more of an artistic touch, so I'm just using the Jet Black ink spray just to add a little bit of splatter. I'm then going to move on to the Note For You stamp set, and I'm taking the Sorry sentiment from here. I'm going to stamp this onto some black cardstock using some embossing ink, and I'm just going to heat set that using some pure white embossing powder. Once that's done, I'm then going to take the coordinating die for the little sentiment that we have. I'm just placing the die around the sentiment, adding a little bit of tape and then running that through. So once I have that nicely cut, I then decided I wanted to add a little bit of dimension to this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a further 4 of the same sentiment die without any stamping, just out of that jet black cardstock there. Once I have that done, I can then add all of these pieces together. So I have taken the landlocked areas out of these before I do glue them. I'm using the Altenew glue tape, as I find this is my favorite glue. I go to it again and again. It's just so usable. So once I have those all stacked up, I'm then going to take the one that we have with the stamped sentiment. I'm going to pop that on top, and we've created our own kind of like chipboard sentiment piece there. All I'm going to do is just add a little bit of glue behind that whole piece and then add that into place onto our card panel. Once I've done that, I can then take a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 white card base. I've added some glue to the front of that and then popped our panel on there. So I really do hope that you've enjoyed the video and that you like the card as well. If you do create a card that was inspired by this, it'd be great if you do share, because we'd love to see. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, crafty friend, Lydia here. Just popping in to say that you can get your daily dose of crafting tips, techniques, and tutorials just like this by subscribing to the Altenew YouTube channel. All you need to do is click on that little bell up there and you will never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.